Hello, hello, hello. You here?
I'm here.
I don't know. I gotta make sure the people can hear me. Make sure the people can hear you, boy. We live, baby. We live. Let me see here. Yes, we are here. We'll give it time to come in. For the peoples to come in to join us. Y'all let us know if you can hear us okay. Let us know if the audio is okay. I think last week I had my wife
I tested it. You trying to
calm down. Use your inside voice before I put you outside. But I think I had her turned down just a little bit. And that was on me. That was not her fault. That was on me completely. So I wanted to make sure that tonight my love was audible. You hear me?
You don't think audible? Maybe I wasn't loud enough. I wasn't speaking loud enough.
Well, I think you were loud. You were speaking loud enough. I think I just had you turned down a little bit. You know, sometimes you got to turn these women down these days. They try to have a loud voice.
Oh, you are in red.
Just kidding. Just kidding. You know, just kidding, baby. It was marriage be hard. Marriage be hard. We just be joking.
Okay. I know he wants to give a few more minutes, but we want to at least introduce ourselves first, right?
You know, if you have not been able to read, we are James and Tarsha Lee of Elevate Marriages, and we are marriage advocates. We are marriage champions of 23 years married this year, as a matter of fact. And we are excited to be here tonight.
Yeah.
We're excited to be here. You know, we're coming to you with a message to kind of give you some tools to live your married life as husband and wife and enjoy one another. And we still believe that. And we still work toward that. And the couples we mentor, we preach that to them day in and day out, week in, week out, month in and month out. But we started last week on reading the book for another couple that we admire. They're younger than us, but you can still admire young folks, right?
Doing the right things, of course.
And making marriage look good. Kevin and Melissa Fredericks. Kev on Stage and Mrs. Kev on Stage, as they're known professionally. And they wrote this book. It's been pushing. We've been following them for a while. And we just wanted to kind of continue this read of chapter 2. It's long. We're probably not going to finish chapter 2. But we want to at least get in here and spend a little bit talking about it, at least answering any questions you might have. Please share this. If you're watching it, share it with someone you think they might enjoy it. And if you have comments or questions, put them in the comment box, in the chat box, and we can answer them as we kind of go through. All right?
Okay, so...
And for the record, Dakota, I am funny. Definitely.
Anyway,
you are, though.
Anyway, so I was thinking, yes, we could go right into chapter 2. I don't know who got the book, but I'm just going to read some of the chapters because I don't think you have to go from one chapter into the next to really get it.
Yeah.
So,
before you start, you can pick up this book on Amazon. If you use the coupon code Elevate Marriages, you can get a 0% discount on it, but you can still get it. Yes, you're going to have to pay full price just like we did. Sorry. Go ahead. Carry on.
That was funny. I mean, I'm going to give him that one. That was funny. Okay, listen. So we did Expectations Be Hard the first week. That was a great chapter. I still think Communication Be Hard is great as well. So then there's Sex Be Hard, Jealousy Be Hard, Marital Roles Be Hard, Fidelity Be Hard, Parenting Be Hard, Quarantine Be Hard, Divorce Be Hard, Self-Worth Be Hard, A Love Letter from Melissa to You, and then Lessons from 18 Years of Marriage. So let's go with the Be Hards. Okay, so we already did Expectations Be Hard. Let's hear it in the chat. What do you want to hear? Which chapter do you want to hear next? Communication, sex, jealousy, marital roles, fidelity, fighting, parenting, quarantine, or divorce? All right, what you want to see? Okay, sweetie, I can barely see it over there, but
Well, we're waiting. I have had nothing yet.
Pop up?
Yeah, nothing yet. But
Come
we'll
on, whatever you say, that's what I'll read next. Communication, sex, jealousy, marital roles, fidelity, fighting, parenting, quarantine, or divorce. What do you want to hear, babe? Maybe I'll let you pick.
Well, you know what? That only because I don't get it. He said infidelity be hard. You know, I mean, shoot, you choose to marry someone.
No, fidelity be hard.
Oh, fidelity be hard. Yeah, I guess so. That intrigued me.
Jealousy, though.
Jealousy. We got a jealousy out there. Okay. Any other takers?
All right,
jealousy?
we're gonna go with it. They answered
that
first.
was the first one.
That's
so
right.
We'll go with that, right?
So jealousy be hard is chapter 4.
I bet it's Melissa. I bet Melissa was jealous.
I don't know what gives you that impression.
You know how y'all be.
All right. Did I show y'all my bookmark last week? It is nice. I know.
Yeah, it's kind of chinky.
Might put that on the market. Okay. So chapter 4, jealousy be hard. Before we launch into a whole chapter about jealousy, we are going to do that thing we love to do. Provide a definition. James, you like doing that too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Oh, the dictionary says, depending on what dictionary.
Whose voice is that?
I don't know, somebody. Okay, for the purposes of this conversation, we are going to classify jealousy as thoughts and feelings of insecurity, fear, and anxiety of an anticipated loss of something of great personal value. Okay. Let me get that one more time. I like that.
Okay.
Jealousy is as we're classifying jealousy as thoughts and feelings of insecurity, fear, and anxiety of an anticipated loss of something of great personal value.
Okay, I like that.
I like that too. Or do we agree with that definition?
Let's go with it. I believe it.
Okay. No one likes that jealousy feeling. It can make you queasy, but it isn't always a bad thing. In fact, we think there are 2 types of jealousy, differentiated by the emotions that bring it on. The first is jealousy born of love. This is the jealousy that God feels over us, the kind that comes from seeing an actual threat to your relationship. The second form of jealousy born from insecurity. This type of jealousy arises out of suspicion, even though there may be no real threat or even evidence of a threat. Okay. All right. Melissa, in the last chapter, we discussed how your sex life changes as you and your marriage go through changes. Same goes for your jealous responses. Depending on where you are emotionally, physically, and mentally, you will react to situations with more or less jealousy. In the 3rd year of our marriage, we were going through some major transitions. Kevin was launching his comedy career at a time when I was reeling from my parents' divorce. More on that in chapter 10, Divorce Be Hard. I was questioning everything in my life, and my reactions to Kev in that season were definitely informed by my new sense of insecurity. I was an exposed nerve, and my new life was hitting that nerve at every turn. Kevin was developing his talent, so every Thursday he would go out to a nightclub and work on new jokes and material. While he spent his nights out at these clubs, I was stuck at home with 2 small boys. And remember, we grew up churchy, as if you could ever forget. So this whole club thing was foreign to us. Well, it turns out Kevin was getting himself quite a fan base. A group of women who were a little clique of friends. Facebook's tagging feature was new at the time. And all of a sudden, while Kevin was out and I was home, I started to see photos of Kevin with women I didn't know. And the clothes these women were wearing to the club were unlike anything I had in my closet. I was seeing them in sexy tops and short skirts all up close and personal with my husband.
Oh,
She
Lord.
didn't capitalize it, but I would have put it in all caps. My husband.
Oh, my
They
goodness.
coined the hashtag Kev's #1 fan and Kev's groupie, not groupie. On the heels of my parents' divorce, you're laughing too hard. Let me just put a little period right there real fast. You okay?
I was praying.
We all going to the club. We all going to the club.
Well, my babies.
Right with me.
You got to watch my babies.
Sit down at the table.
No, we can't have my babies in no club.
Let me get some pineapple juice. They have orange juice at the club. Let me have to get the orange juice.
Come on now.
We're going to be there. Groupie, not groupie. You better. Okay. I don't even know where I was.
Yeah, see?
But I did not have as honest a conversation with Kevin as I should have because I feared coming off as a jealous wife. Guess who don't care? Guess who don't care?
Listen, hold up. First off, let me tell you, this is their story, okay?
No, don't try.
Let them live in their story.
You relate.
Don't place yourself inside this story.
That is the whole purpose of reading their book because we can relate to that, and we can relate. Of course we can.
Because you're jealous.
Where people are, I can't be. I'm sure that spoker. All getting a little too close. When people try to, hey James, you didn't have to touch him to say
don't nobody want me. Look at me. No, nobody, man.
I was upset, but instead of confronting Kevin when he got home, I just went to bed, and I went to bed mad. Okay, who knows the rule about going to bed mad? Okay, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Don't do it. If you've been with us for any time,
you know the rule.
You know the rule for sure.
It's not that I didn't want to deal with Kevin. The truth is I didn't want to deal with my own emotions. Another factor at play was that I knew all too well that Kevin, my husband, has a philosophy he holds dear. You're either with me or against me.
Yep.
More on that in chapter 5. Even the slightest inclination of a doubt or a problem would be interpreted as me taking a stance against his dream. So I slept it off. In the morning, I told myself, I trust Kevin. It's not that big of a deal, and it will be okay. It's a new morning, and all that stuff was yesterday. I wish I could go back in time and make sure we had a productive discussion about it, because by the time we did talk about it, I had been holding too much in for too long. Oh my goodness.
Here we go.
Oh, yeah, but been there, done that, right? She didn't say that, I said that. Okay. The reckoning happened in 2 stages. The first was a blow up after I had been holding my jealousy in for 6 months. That girl is a soldier. Do you hear me?
Dang.
Give her some little stripes or stars. You know what y'all get.
We ain't giving her nothing. She shouldn't have been doing that.
Oh, no. She held it for 6 months. That's long. That is
a long time.
Long. I'm going to blew my top for 6 hours. Okay. 6 months of pictures, posts, tags, and mounting anger. Also, Kevin was doing a look good, feel good thing, and he would take his shirt off on stage every chance he got. Have y'all seen Kev on stage?
Kev.
I'm just gonna let him make it.
Back then, I'm sure he was younger and more fit.
I didn't say, I just said, did you see him?
But that was a dig, though.
It was not.
Don't do that to the big guys. We don't appreciate that.
Baby, you know I love you.
We don't appreciate that.
I love all of you.
No, I'm starting to turn this camera off.
Oh, but I didn't say a word about any of it until I lost it over a game of Twitter taboo.
There we go. That's what happens.
I like that.
That's
Twitter
what
taboo.
happens.
We may have to play that. Okay. Here's how it went down. Every Thursday night, Kevin went to a show that started at 10 p.m. On this particular Thursday evening, he ate before the rest of the family so he could make it to the club early. All afternoon, we didn't really connect on any level, deep or shallow. Not because we were beefing, but because we were busy, and that's how it often went. I came home from a long day at work. I cooked and I cleaned up a bit. I bathed the boys and got them ready for bed. And before I had a chance to catch my breath, Kevin was out the door to the comedy club. Kevin gave me a kiss goodbye, which was a kiss goodnight since I went to sleep while he was out, and then rushed out to the club. 30 minutes later, I saw this tweet from him. Who wants to play a game of Twitter taboo? He then set up a virtual game of Taboo on Twitter and played for an hour or so before his set. And he kept it going after he got off stage. Here's what I was thinking. My husband misses the opportunity to connect with me over dinner and rushes out to a club while I stay at home with our kids so he can achieve his dreams. And he's using that time to connect with thousands of strangers. It was infuriating. The game of Taboo was the catalyst for a long overdue discussion about all of it. The truth is, I didn't even really understand what was bothering me. All I knew at the time was that I felt Twitter was getting more from Kevin than I was. Oh, I can't wait till okay. I cried and we talked, and Kevin agreed not to play.
Man can't even play Taboo no more.
Oh goodness, I'm sorry.
Damn.
I cried and we talked, and Kevin agreed not to play Taboo on Twitter. But that didn't resolve the issue, which was that we were not connecting. I know somebody is saying amen in the chat.
Somebody needs to say something.
Because I know y'all know that this is ridiculous. Not connecting causes bigger problems. I'm going to get off this box.
Shit, if you haven't liked this video, go ahead. It's free to watch. Just hit a like, hit a share, or do something. Help your boy out. Appreciate you. Go ahead, carry on.
In conflicts, we tend to address the wound, but not the cause. Amen? Mm-hmm. It's like putting a Band-Aid on your knee when you have internal bleeding. We made that mistake, fixing big problems with the scaffolding of our relationship. And the deal with scaffolding is it's temporary, designed to keep things in place while the real structural work is done.
That's right.
But we were relying on the scaffolding to hold our marriage together. The more productive conversation came in year 17 of our marriage. She said year 17 of their marriage. They've been married 18 years. So really starting to have the productive conversations later in their marriage. And for me, of course, I always say it's no time like the present to really get out of your marriage what you need to get out of your marriage, right? But just thinking about that now, how you could have really been enjoying more of those years by having those deep conversations about what you were going through. Anyway, when we were more educated about communication and open to being vulnerable, that's when we had a real talk about the feelings that created jealousy and insecurity all those years ago. By the time we had that conversation, the Twitter taboo issue was not an isolated incident. It was 14 years of those type of scenarios, times when I felt hurt and wrong, times when resentment built up. It was also 14 years of personal growth and development that allowed for the productive conversation about jealousy.
Oh, it's time for Kevin?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I want to make sure I have your volume on there. Okay. Now, this is from Kevin's perspective about his wife, who was a baby at the time.
Was she really, though? Because, that's what it is, right? He is messing around. Well, at least I know he's messing around. But that's just it. Because as wives, I think we aren't always, we don't communicate exactly what we're thinking and how we're feeling. Sometimes it does come out as just an emotion, rather that, now I'm raising my voice or, yelling. I may start crying, isolation, that type of thing. And because we can't express, I'm feeling disconnected. I'm feeling unwanted. I'm feeling ignored, whatever, that, now here we go with the whatever he did, which is ridiculous. Because also that's an opportunity for you to say, I know something's off. I know, something's wrong. What's going on with you? And an opportunity for me, if that's what I'm feeling, to really dig in there and be able to express to you what I'm feeling so that we can come to a solution if we are trying to come to a solution, because it could be just something in me.
Right. But your feeling, of course, as outlandish or as I may think it is, it's still relevant because it's your feeling, right? And I can't just dismiss it just because I don't agree with it. So we'll see what Kevin
you can't dismiss it or even judge it as, because you don't know what it is.
Oh, I can judge it. I can definitely judge it.
We were in Melissa's head. You don't know.
but I can see if it comes across. She said she might have been yelling, or she didn't want him to play Twitter
She
taboo
didn't
anymore.
say she was yelling. He was there.
I'm saying she didn't want him to anymore for whatever reason. So we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see. Boundaries were being crossed for sure, but I was oblivious. People would come to the comedy show just for the club. And when the comedy show wrapped up, the twerking would begin. You know how people dress when they're going to a club.
Y'all know what I'm saying. I'm not saying I condone it because I don't, but I understand. That's all I'm
you know how people dress when they go into the club. Mm-hmm. Them things be thanging.
No, it doesn't. Let me see.
Why you always think I'm making up stuff?
Anybody who knows James Lee knows he will make it up. Now, don't get me wrong. I know Kevin's funny, but
come
James
on.
Okay, go ahead, babe. I'm sorry.
Booty and hips and thighs and titties were bouncing. And my ego was being served up for real. I mean, it seemed that just minutes before I was a nobody. And then all of a sudden, people were recognizing me on the street. Hey, man, you're that dude from the comedy show. People came up to me in a safe way. I had fans for the first time in my life. It fed my ego. In high school, I played 1 year varsity basketball, and I had only one game where I scored more than 20 points. Let me explain something about our high school. We had guys on our teams who went pro. So those of us who weren't of that caliber were essential nobodies. When I started in stand-up and was doing well, I had a great set and was the belle of the ball. People showed up just for me the way people in high school showed up to watch the stars on our team. In my mind, these are signs that my career was headed in the right direction. It hit particularly hard, given that I was coming off a time when my income had dropped to nothing. Not making money killed my ego and my sense of what it meant to be a man. Being recognized and having fans fed that part of me. All these factors informed how I handled the fan club scenario. For me, it wasn't about the women. I didn't think about them in sexual sense. They were signs that I was building my fan base. The idea was the more pictures I got tagged in, the more people would follow me on social media or show up to see me perform. I was not thinking of Melissa's feelings. I was focused on whether I had a good show. I was blinded by the work of building up my social media following. I wasn't paying attention to how that affected my marriage or my wife.
Selfish. That's what it
is. Is it? The man got to keep the lights on. He'd be less than an infidel if he didn't.
That's what the word says, huh? Okay, Melissa. We sometimes make the mistake of associating jealousy only with insecurity. We think that being jealous is a reflection of a low sense of self, not a valid awareness of our boundaries. Not a valid awareness that our boundaries are being invaded. If we don't want to be labeled as a jealous person, we force ourselves to get over it. Or maybe we just pretend we're okay with a behavior that is not okay. There's a thin line between insecurity and justified jealousy, and that line often gets blurred. For me at the time this all went down, I was feeling slightly resentful. I was working in a bank all day and staying home with our kids at night. Kev wasn't working a day job, and he spent his nights out in a scene I didn't know or understand. Not only that, but he was also buying new clothes and new shoes for his fun nights out at the club.
Melissa, I hate her.
Meanwhile, I'm feeling like a frumpy new mom in my bank outfits. That was not what I signed up for. Again, your marriage goes through phases, and whether or not you respond to behavior with jealousy is a product of the phase you're in. I was in an insecure place, so my jealousy was at an all-time high. Okay, so she didn't say yet why her parents got a divorce, but of course, I'm assuming they had been married for years. I'm sure that had her, like she said, just one big ball of nerves. That probably had her raw. Now Kev gets new clothes, new shoes. He all out all times of the night. Yeah, I can see where your mind could take you all kinds of places. But no way to fix that, no way to get over it, as she says, than to talk about it. I
Yeah.
think. Okay, babe. Kevin.
All right.
You got it?
Yep. I got it. Let's go back a little further in time. Early in our marriage, I was working at the bank during the day and doing plays at night. Melissa had been our stage manager, but she retired from that role when the boys were born. She was no longer intricately connected to that part of my life. And as she admits above, it fed her insecurities, which made us see things differently. All of this led to an incident that taught us both about healthy jealousy. Oh man. On BlackBerry Messenger, that lets you know how long ago this was. That's exactly what he said in parentheses. Oh my God. I would chat with everybody that worked together on the plays. One woman I worked with happened to be someone I knew from high school, and truth be told, had a little crush on.
You see that? You see that right there? You see that? Now, if I was holding the book, I would fast forward down to the end so we could know, ladies, exactly what happened.
Really?
But let's just let it unfold. Don't go ahead.
Okay, fine. A big crush. Okay, fine. Back then, I was too unsure of my game to properly holler at her. And because Melissa and I were friends and not dating yet, I would talk about this girl to Liz, which probably ended up being a factor in the story I'm about to tell.
You better believe it.
Wrong
oh,
move,
my
brother.
ladies. Wives, come on. Wives, he
Come
had
on,
a crush
Kev.
on her. Oh, man. Yes. Okay. Let's just keep on reading.
Oh, my goodness.
I can't see the comment.
Oh. Excuse me. The plays we performed were in Seattle, 45 minutes from where we lived in Tacoma. And a bunch of us, including this woman, carpooled. To make matters worse, we had a new baby, and Liz stayed home with him most evenings. The first incident happened at my birthday party. It was a potluck at our house, so everyone was bringing food, chips, salad. You get the idea. This woman, the one from the plays and high school crush, brought a cake. And not just any cake, but a homemade, not from a box birthday cake. And not just any cake, but a homemade, not from a box birthday cake. It was one of those individual sized layer cakes with vanilla frosting and happy birthday spelled across the top in fancy icing.
Ladies, is that a no-no? Is that a no-no? I'm just asking. You know, nobody else can make your husband a homemade, not out the box birthday cake. I'm just asking.
Oh, you're just asking.
I understand that that was the case for Melissa. I'm asking, you know, those that are listening, is that the case for them?
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. As soon as she arrived at the party, she told everyone how she had ruined the cake on her first attempt, went back to the grocery store, got all new ingredients, and made a second one. She was also showing people at the party that she had a burn on her arm from baking the cake. My friends saw the problem right away.
Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing?
No reason.
You got chuckles in the book?
My brother and my friend pulled me outside to my car and were like, "Are you crazy? A girl bringing a cake that she baked? Not that she brought one from Safeway for $9. You're in big trouble. Melissa's going to take your life away."
Marion.
Come on, Marion. You would have lost it. Come on, Marion.
Who gonna eat that?
You ain't helping.
I bet she take it back home with her. I just kidding.
Oh my goodness. I was like, wait, what?
Oh, he oblivious. All the other guys see it and recognize it, but Kev gonna like, oh no, but it's just a cake. That's so James Lee.
Totally oblivious. I didn't really think about the difference between one of my homegirls bringing spaghetti and this girl the one that Melissa knew I used to have a crush on, bringing a birthday cake. My brother had to hit me over the head. Birthday cake is your wife. She does the cake, not another woman.
Not today, but anyway.
Liz was livid, but to her credit, she kept it cool throughout the party. We actually have a picture of me and Melissa doing karaoke that night, and you never know from looking at the photo that she had fire inside. When the last person left, she closed the door, turned the lock, and put the chain on. And before the chain settled, she turned to me and said, "How could you? Why does she think it's okay to bring a just for you birthday cake? What have you been saying and doing to make her think this is okay?" Once again, I was oblivious. What? Me? Done? I didn't do nothing. I don't know what this girl was thinking. This is beyond me.
This is beyond me.
Oh, did we lose? Tell me we didn't lose.
What happened?
Video. Oh, come on. Hold on. Y'all bear with us. Oh.
Okay, but they can still hear us, so
Can they? It's beyond me.
You want me to finish reading it?
Hold on.
Can you still hear us? Oh no, it's Marion says the video is out, but Marion, can you hear me? Okay, video's back.
Back?
Uh-huh.
All right, let me make sure I got it.
Okay, and they can hear.
All right, I gotta make sure I make this connection. That's what that was.
D, is that a thinking face? What is that? What are you thinking about this whole can another woman make a cake for you? What's the thinking part? Yes, you can see the video and you can hear it, honey.
Yeah, but I gotta get this connected back on.
Okay.
Did that pop up? Did she respond?
Said, what do you think from a guy's perspective? Would it be a big deal if a woman made you a cake? Now, mind you, y'all remember, this is not a cake for everybody, a big enough cake for everybody to get a slice. She made him his own personal cake. So that's why I'm not buying that whole, I ran out of ingredients video went away.
I think that's what the issue.
I ran out of ingredients and had to go back to the store and buy some. You had a whole bag of flour. Now, come on, don't do that.
How the heck is this thing doing?
I don't know what James said, but again, so what do you think? Is that birthday cake okay? A personalized birthday cake, is that all right?
Yes, no.
They must be thinking. Okay, D said, throw that cake away.
Wow.
Okay. And Kid said he's gonna eat the cake with his wife.
Hey, a family that prays together stays together.
Sam said he wouldn't have thought anything was wrong with it. Oh, Sam, you're so sweet.
Poor Sam.
D said we're eating that cake. It's probably good, huh? Okay, we got the video back and the sound is there.
I have to connect it to this though.
Okay, well, give me the book.
That's my issue. Oh.
He didn't use my okay, there you go. Okay, so of course, guys, I'm reading for Kevin. Where did you start, sweetie?
She said, how could you? He said he didn't do nothing around that area.
Okay. I don't know what that girl was thinking. This is beyond me. The funny thing was I didn't even like birthday cake, especially icing. James is like that too. That's so crazy. Okay. Even after the cake incident, this woman was still in my carpool to the theater for the plays we performed. We would text about what time we were leaving, who was driving, and what the plans were for the day or the week. But as Liz pointed out, later, the communication between me and this woman went above and beyond the necessary logistics. A few weeks after my birthday party, Melissa checked my phone. There was a message chain with this woman that had started when she thought she left her wallet in my car and wanted to see if I could find it. I'm sorry, go ahead. However, the most recent message, the one Melissa saw, just said,
Black Kenneth Cole. Thanks. Liz thought I had complimented the woman's perfume and that she was just responding.
How just out of Black Kenneth Cole, she thought it was him commenting on her perfume. I'm sure she had to think forever to figure out, well, what made me, what could he be talking about? Black Kenneth Cole. I don't know how she got to cologne, because perfume, that probably wouldn't have been my guess. But go ahead, sweetie.
Liz thought I had complimented the woman's perfume and that she was responding, saying the perfume was called Black by Kenneth Cole. I thought that was a man's perfume, but anyway, cologne. Liz finally spoke up. This contact is feeling very inappropriate, she said. I don't like what's going on here. I'm uncomfortable. Luckily, I cared far more about my wife and my marriage than I did about this woman. When Melissa voiced her feelings, I realized how far the situation had gone, and I knew that it had to end. Quickly, I realized how badly the whole thing had hurt Melissa, and I knew it couldn't continue, not for 1 minute. I said, I don't care about this girl. I care about you and this marriage.
All right.
If you're this uncomfortable, I'll end it, and that will be it. You hear it? You hear it. The problem is, I didn't see anything to this other woman about cutting it off. I just went quiet, figuring she'd get the picture. A few days later, I got a message from her that said, "What? No good morning?" Melissa saw it and told me I had to be clear to her about cutting it off. I then told this woman straight up that I couldn't talk to her anymore. She got so mad. She went off, saying that it sucks that single women can't have friends because married women always take it wrong. Liz was enraged and threw the phone at me. I had never seen her so upset. In that moment, I was reminded that Melissa comes from a hot-blooded family. I had heard stories of her relatives fighting at funerals and baby showers, pregnant women punching and kicking each other. I'd never seen that side on Melissa. But when she threw that BlackBerry, I saw that she was indeed from Toledo and had her mom's blood. In the years since, I'd never seen her get that mad again. That's how I knew I had really messed up. For her to lose her cool like that, it made it simple. I had to cut things off with the girl. So, let me just say this. Oh, sorry. There are, Kevin did the right thing. He did the absolute right thing, because there's opportunities in our lives where we can decide to do something and that can just exacerbate the problem. But he did the right thing, because that woman really did mean a hill of beans from what he said to him, when it came to his marriage. I think many times we can kind of get carried away with that, and we want to hold on to relationships and things because, hey, don't try to change me, don't try to pick my friends, or don't try. I get that. But if anything in your marriage makes your spouse uncomfortable,
anything in your life, right?
That's a part of your marriage. Your marriage life.
But I meant outside of the marriage.
That makes your spouse uncomfortable. You should be okay with getting rid of it, no matter what it is.
I felt like there, maybe not on Kevin's side, or it didn't sound like it was on Kevin's side, but she says, "What? No good morning? Find you a man to say good morning to you. Get you a I don't know, somebody to say good morning to. Why are you expecting a good morning from my husband? No, ma'am. What you should be expecting is I'll be there to pick you up at 8 or whatever the case may be." So somewhere in her mind, I think maybe some things had been blurred, and it was good to get some expectations together, or maybe just cut things off because it was getting a little too close.
Yeah.
Be mindful of those things, I think, is what they're really trying
to say. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was just going to mention that, folks get into the, men and women can't be friends or whatever. And, I know that's a discussion of another topic or whatever. But ultimately, if your wife's not comfortable with it, let it go.
And yes, ultimately that is true. And my friends are your friends. Your friends are my friends.
There you
So
go.
if you're talking about, oh, Susie Q is my friend, and I've never met Susie Q, never talked to Susie Q, don't know nothing about Susie Q, guess what? Susie Q is not your friend. I'm just saying. Okay.
Amen. Amen.
All right.
Amen.
Melissa says, the funny thing was, after the Kenneth Cole message, when I told Kevin I was uncomfortable with the whole thing, I still worried that I had acted like a jealous wife. I couldn't even bring myself to tell Kevin that I wanted him to cut off communication with the woman. I tempered it by asking that he scale it back a lot. The come to Jesus moment for me was the day she commented that Kev had yet to wish her a good morning. See, I knew it. That was a definite sign that he'd been talking to her too much. This was not jealousy born of insecurity. This was jealousy born out of love. I like that.
No, that's delusion. That's delusion. No,
it was not. It was jealousy born of love.
No.
That's true. That's as long as your jealousy is born of love, it should be okay.
Jealousy,
Maybe,
no.
Let me.
Oh no, you didn't.
Okay. This woman was an actual threat to my relationship. On the other hand, more recently, when some porn stars started following Kev on Twitter and making comments, I didn't care at all. Not one bit. I knew she was not an actual threat to this marriage.
Okay.
Let me tell. Oh, you know what? I'm just
get to these porn stars. What's her name was? Did he put a name in the book? She be following people. Oh.
You know the camera is on, right? You know the camera is on.
Carry on. Right? Carry on.
Kev didn't give me any pushback about ending his friendship with the woman who baked him a cake. I'm glad I didn't have to work to convince him that severing ties was the right thing to do. She didn't have to convince him because she threw that phone at his head and he got the picture real fast, right?
She did.
Okay, real problems arise when someone won't end a friendship outside their marriage when that friendship makes their partner uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Exactly what James said. No relationship should be more important than your marriage. That's the kind of thing that will ignite suspicion. That is so true, right?
It does.
If there's any threat to this marriage, if there's anything that makes me feel uncomfortable, then that thing must be more important to you if you continue to build and cater to that instead of what I'm feeling. Personal history and baggage from previous relationships often creep up in situations like these. Maybe your ex cheated on you and you brought that pain to your current relationship. Or maybe you had a friend make a move on your man and it left you more sensitive to and jealous of any behavior that verges on similar territory. It's important to know your partner and their history and work hard to validate their feelings, even if nothing is going on and the friendship in question is completely innocent. If you're asked to cut it off, you do it to show your spouse that your marriage means more to you than a friendship. You never know. There might be an occasion where the tables turn and you'll want your spouse to do the same for you. Marriage is like anything else you have that's valuable. You protect it.
Absolutely.
If you have jewelry or a cherished collectible, you do everything you can to keep it safe. Maybe you hide it or wrap it in a bubble wrap. You do what you can so that thing of value isn't broken or tampered with. You make sure no outside force can penetrate it and decrease its value. It's the same with your relationship. Wrap your marriage in bubble wrap twice. For Kevin and me, these steps we take to protect our marriage not only help us feel more secure in our relationship, but they also remind us that our spouse feels protective over us. We all want to be valued and adored, and that's why there is such a thing as healthy jealousy. When you speak up and let your partner know that you're feeling jealous, that your sensors are alerted, and you want to keep the relationship safeguarded from a potential threat, it just might make your partner feel treasured. By the same token, your spouse could get a little perturbed if you're not jealous enough, and I speak from experience on that one.
Jealous. Ain't jealous that's a sin, huh? trying to be sin free over here.
A few years into our marriage, Kevin and I worked at Boeing, and a guy in the office was blatantly hitting on me. At first, it didn't bother me. I pretty much ignored him and his comments. That is until the day I was wearing a sundress, and this guy came up to me and said, I should do an FOD, F-O-D, check on you in that dress. For clarification, FOD stands for Foreign Object Debris. A FOD check is a thorough scan of a plane for anything, a pin cap, an earring that can compromise the integrity of the plane. Essentially, this coworker was saying that he wanted to fill me up. I was ashamed and angry. I came home that night and told Kev about it, expecting him to match my level of fury, or even better, take it to the next level. After all, this coworker was talking about doing a meticulous search in and around my dress, but Kev showed practically no emotion. He was in complete control, doing his best to validate my feelings instead of getting angry. It made me think he didn't care. I thought he should scream for this guy to be fired immediately, or at least show a little healthy jealousy. Let's go back to our definition. In this scenario, something Kevin considered to be of great personal value, his marriage, was being threatened. A boundary was being crossed. But no, he barely reacted.
That's because real men
don't do that.
We don't be all emotional like that, man. I mean, it's just, I ain't jealous for what? She mine. I ain't finna be jealous for what? She going with me. Now you put your hands on her, that's different. But jealous?
Well, she said that she wanted him to be a little jealous, or a little healthy jealousy, because if we go by definition, something you value was being threatened.
But you felt it was threatened. I didn't see it as a threat.
Yes, but I told you that I felt threatened. So she felt uncomfortable. It made her feel uncomfortable. Now, 9 out of 10, most of the women that are on here that I can see, I'm sure he would have got some words. Probably would have had to tell him about himself and how he could take the FOD. Don't even get me started. Get back to Kevin. I think I'm sure he would have got some words. Then I had to come home and tell James what I told him, and then the boss heard, and it could be a whole thing. But yeah.
We'll probably wrap this up with Kev here.
Okay.
Let me start by saying that God is jealous, and I want to be like God. But that's besides the point. And there are 2 reasons that explain why I underreacted there. The first is embarrassing, but I have to cop to it. I didn't know what a FOD check was. Yes, I worked at Boeing, but my job did not require me to get anywhere near planes. I typed into Excel spreadsheets for a living. The only reason I ever did see planes is because the cafe with the best snacks was located where the planes were made. Also, Boeing has a stupid number of acronyms. And if I had known what a FOD check meant, I would have gone ballistic on that guy. The other reason I underreacted relates to a story that serves as an important building block in the jealousy department of our marriage. A few years earlier, when Melissa was working at the bank, she had a coworker who was talking to her crazy. Melissa called and told me about a ridiculously inappropriate email from this guy, and I took that to mean I should do something about it. I told Melissa that my brother and I were clocking out of our jobs early to head over to the bank to beat that guy to the ground. I thought she was going to love it. I felt like a strapping, muscular prince, shirtless on a white horse, swooping in to save my damsel in distress.
He is doing too much with his life.
I would defend her honor and beat up this dude so that everyone at the branch would know. Don't nobody ever talk to my wife like this. All right, Will Smith. Melissa did not react with the gratitude I expected. She reminded me that I would go to jail, she would get fired, and that plan was dumb from start to finish. Turns out, she had called me just to vent about this guy, not for me to come save her. So later, When the file check thing went down, I remember how the last time something like this happened with a guy at Melissa's work, she made it very clear she had it under control. Instead of freaking out, I downplayed it. My brain went through the process of telling me, last time you were jealous, she did not like your response. So you better not get as upset this time. If you flip out again, it'll look like you didn't pay attention to her feelings. What looked to Melissa like me not caring was really me trying too hard to learn from my mistakes. And it didn't help that I had no idea what the file check was. At the end of the day, I had the right response to the wrong situation and the wrong response to the right situation. I even got jealous when Carlos, a 75-year-old colleague of Melissa's, brought her homemade tacos and enchiladas that his wife made.
That his wife made. His wife made them for Melissa, and Melissa brought them home. 75 years old?
75, yeah.
Come on.
Melissa thought I was crazy. She said, he's old enough to be my grandfather. Seriously, cut it out. A word to you men out there. You're usually going to be wrong whether you overreact or underreact. Therefore, my advice is to always overreact. Then you'll be right at least 50% of the time. Keep the energy up, but be careful to make sure your actions are warranted. Over the course of a 20-plus year relationship, people are going to change, and your reactions to events and behaviors are going to shift. It's important to love the current version of your spouse and pay attention to what they're going through. I always want my wife to be happy and feel safe. When Melissa asked me to ease up on the photos with the groupies, we could have had an argument where I reminded her that I was working to do what was best for my brand. But my wife's feelings were more important. Even if I had no interest in the woman she worried about, at the end of the day, my goal was to have a safe, happy, comfortable relationship with my wife, which means I'm going to do what's good for her and for our marriage. In a healthy marriage, you stay mindful of your behavior, not because it's right or wrong, but because you're so tapped into where your spouse is emotionally and psychologically that you know how they're going to feel about your behavior. I see a lot of people who play stuff down and make their spouse jealousy seem ridiculous with comments like, you're tripping. And my feeling is, even if they are tripping, you're setting the stage for jealousy and feeding that awful feeling when you should be building trust. It's a matter of priorities. In both situations where my behavior and cluelessness contributed to Melissa's jealousy, I made adjustments to accommodate Melissa's feelings. If my career had to grow more slowly to keep my marriage intact,
all right,
that was going to have to be okay. I didn't quit my comedy career to accommodate her feelings because then I would have resented her for making me give up on my dream. But I changed my behavior because it was better for my marriage. And it wasn't hard. In the end, things seem to be working out, both at home and on stage. You might as well finish that because that's the last of the chapter.
Melissa says, my friend Danny uses a phrase that perfectly suits this conversation. Choose us. Kevin's shift in his routine was an example of his choosing us. When you are choosing us, the result might not be the exact thing that either of you wants, but it's what is best for the partnership, for the current situation that exists between the two of you. The key is to match your partner's reaction and to recognize where the jealousy is born. Out of love, out of insecurity, out of fear of losing something of great personal value. Identify what is at stake, where the feelings are coming from, and act accordingly. All right, now time for a relationship check-in. If you're near your spouse, discuss it. If you want to share it, but definitely discuss it. Okay, we've all had moments of jealousy, whether born out of love or insecurity. Both are valid feelings. Here are some questions to ask yourself and your partner as you work through this dynamic in your relationship. All right. Do you feel your relationship is protected from being penetrated by outside forces? And if you don't think it is, why?
Right. That's something to kind of ask yourself.
There's no wrong answer either, right? You're just this is opening it up for a conversation. Is there a person who makes you feel jealous? Have you told your spouse? Are boundaries being crossed, or are you insecure? Should your spouse cut that person out? Interesting. Lastly, is there something you can ask your partner to do to prevent you from feeling jealous in the future? What do you think, babe?
Those are good questions.
Do you feel your relationship is protected from being penetrated by outside forces? I think there's always going to be outside forces and things that are trying to come between you. James and I talk about, it may not be so much jealous about a person. Maybe it's time, because I'm real selfish about my time, right? So if you're spending too much time doing this or too much time doing that, sometimes that can get, anything that comes between us is a problem.
Absolutely.
So anything that's getting more attention to me is a problem.
And that could be work.
It could.
It could be family. It could be kids.
Oh, it could definitely be kids,
Oh,
right?
yeah, definitely be kids.
So just keep in mind those things as you're thinking about it. And remember, again, what is it born out of? What is it born out of? Is there a person who makes you feel jealous? If there is somebody, oh my goodness. And guys tend to do this. I don't think women do it. Are you kidding me, honey? She's 600 pounds and missing 2 front teeth and a patch of hair on the left side. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I do not care. They can all get it. That's all I'm saying. Any and all may be trying to penetrate.
If it's a problem. Yeah.
If it's a problem. So keep that in mind. And is there something you can ask your partner to do to prevent you from feeling jealous in the future? Of course. If there's something that you feel like, oh, this could make a difference for us, this would make me feel better, whatever, then communicate that. Talk to your spouse.
Absolutely.
Because they don't know. And sometimes they are oblivious to it all. And sometimes they may, she is a little friendly, or he is a little friendly. I didn't look at it that way. Be open-minded to it, having a conversation about it and making some adjustments where needed so that your marriage can be stronger.
One thing that I do, I try to make a habit of, because the industry I work in dominated by females. But I have one female friend that I'm friends with, that I've been friends with for a long time, that I talk to on the phone. But my wife knows her. And when I talk to her, I'm usually talking on speaker. I usually speak to women on speaker anyway. That's just kind of one of those things where I just do. I put it on speaker, have a conversation. She don't have to guess or run up and hear, that higher register voice and wonder, well, who is that? Who are you talking to? Whatever the case is. But I would say, do that or something to make so there's nothing to even be left to the imagination. Because these women, they make up a whole movie in their mind. I swear they will. But it don't even have to be that serious. But for me, that's kind of it's on speaker. I mean, there's no secrets. There's none of that at all. So I do that on speakerphone when I'm talking to women, particularly. I'm on speaker.
And his hearing is bad. So that's the other thing. So he needs to be speaking. No, I'm just kidding. Just about that friend. Okay, so she is a friend of mine. So if you put 2 and 2 together and get 4 and realize it's you, it's still, I love you, no doubt. Okay, so
she's not only.
She, what call? He's been friends with her since high school, and we all went to college together.
Funny enough, she knew her before I knew her. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Knew her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I knew her, shall I say. So anyway, so by the time when he got to college and we were, all in the same dorm, I would see him get together, whatever, talk and blah, blah, blah. I know they all went to the same high school. And when James and I were just friends, she would come up, he would give her a hug. I saw him give her a forehead kiss a couple of times. So,
she's
whatever.
like a sister to me.
Yeah, I hear you. So, yeah, no big deal. Whatever. I mean, at the time, he was just my friend anyway, so I wasn't really worried about it. And by the time we started actually dating, of course, his attention was, more on me, and I didn't see that as much. I still saw them talk and stuff like that, but, whatever. Fast forward. So we get married, and she, calls the house one day, and I answered the phone, and she doesn't say, "Oh, hey, Tarsha, blah, 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 what's going on? How are you? Is James there?" She didn't say that. She just flat out asked to speak to him. I mean, I guess I could have spoke, in my maturity now, I could have said, "Girl, how you doing?" or whatever, but I didn't. I gave him the phone, and later I was like, "Oh, so she gonna call my house, act like she don't know me, didn't speak, and then ask to speak to my husband? What? Oh no, we're not gonna do that." So I just said that to him. I wasn't mad at him, but I just didn't like the way she handled it. And as I'm telling this story, I really didn't like the way I handled it, because I really feel like I could have said something right in that moment. But needless to say, for the example's sake. So I don't know if you called her back that same day, or was it the next time you talked to her?
No, I called her back.
Called her back, and he told her, "Hey, if you call my house and my wife answers the phone, you need to speak. You need to speak to my wife when she answers, blah, 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 before asking to speak to me, da, da, da." It was completely innocent. She apologized. We have no problems and have never had any problems with that since. We talk and laugh. We talk, on the phone when he's not around. She may call if she needs something, Instagram and all the rest of that.
She's been at both of my surprise birthday parties.
We've had more than two, but I'll let you.
My milestones. I'm sorry. The milestone ones here lately.
She has. And she is like a sister.
Yeah, she's like my sister. That's my girl. That for sure. For sure.
So, but I think you just gotta be able to speak on that, because sometimes it is perfectly innocent. And in her defense, I really feel like it was. And I should have been able to say something. Everything is not a go off moment, but being able to talk and express how you feel, because maybe it's innocent, and if it's not, it will get checked in the moment.
Yes, absolutely. So I know people are like, "Oh, you can't have female friends or the male friends." Yeah, mostly you can't do that, but we've been able to navigate it because we were just always out front and in the open and transparent with it from the beginning. So you just got to be that, and if it's not comfortable, you gotta let it go. You gotta let it go. Period.
How about the underreacting?
The underreacting, because I'm not jealous at all. I'm not a jealous guy. So the underreacting to me is not abnormal, but I don't want you to feel less than or worthless, shall I say, or like I don't care about you if something were to happen, But to Kevin's point, it's like I didn't want to overreact, because the last time I did it, he kind of went overboard. Honestly, it's bro,
he talk about had a whole scenario in his head, riding on a white horse with no shirt on.
You clocking out and go up there and you and
your
brother.
Why are you dragging your brother? Both y'all about to lose your job. 3 people out of work.
Low key probably couldn't fight. That's why he's getting his brother. But
yeah, Jason looked like he could put them hands.
Yeah, but the fact remains is I don't want to underreact with it. If she tells me something, we're fix-its, right? Men fix. Okay. We fix things. So if it's something bugging you, I'm listening. I'm hearing you. All right, baby. Yeah. I okay. And if it's one of those things like you want me to fix, you want me to do something, just like we said that Will did when Jada looked at him, it's kind of that little, you need to do something about this, so you need to say something. It's kind of one of those things, right? So if I don't feel like you were threatened or disrespected in any way, or if you tell me you felt that way, then that can all kind of determine on how I would behave. But I think you handle yourself pretty well, and most of the time you're calming me down. If I see something like, man, what's up with that? That's not a situation, or that's not not cool or whatever. But I think you have to kind of balance it because you can overreact, and there's some foods that's either dead or
Slapped.
slapped, or even in jail because somebody overreacted about something.
And usually something to do with a woman.
Yeah.
So of course, being careful with how we bring things to our spouses, to our husbands specifically, well, to our wives too, because I mean, depends on who it is and what happens. I'm taking down license plate numbers and addresses, you know?
Yeah.
D, you make a short flight, we could take care of things. I'm just saying.
Oh, you talking about D, for real, D, my sister for real on here. Okay. Speaking of short.
Don't do that.
I'm sorry.
Don't do that. Anyway, we have to be careful with the things that we say and what reactions that we are expecting to get. If it's just a vent, okay, I just want you to hear me out. If it's I really do want you to say something to him because I think he was out of line, or I couldn't handle it, or I didn't handle it. Yeah. And of course, in most I'm messing around as far as me and D rolling up on somebody, but of course I want to stay in my lane. Don't want to get out of character and anything like that.
Absolutely.
But I expect you to handle those things, especially if I say I feel uncomfortable. And the same that I would if it was him.
Yeah. So. And that's even with family. She's had to talk me off the ledge sometimes when you
know what?
Yeah,
that's a whole
nother deal. But I'm
right?
like, they said what? Oh no.
And because it's talking we're talking about jealousy though, not just defending your loved one. Okay, so of course that was one chapter. They are kind of long. I'm not gonna tell you guys that we are gonna read this whole book. But we do want to get through some of the chapters with you. We've enjoyed the interaction and the dialogue.
I think there was another request about communication on that, so we'll do that next time.
And communication is
hard.
Pretty long. Yes, it's pretty long.
Yeah, we might have to split it up, but we'll talk about that because that's important. Communication is very, very important.
Absolutely. A lot of the chapters in there seem pretty interesting. And we're not reading it ahead of time. We read it as soon as, so the first time we read it is the first time we read it with you guys. So anyway, I'll take a look at it. I think I'm going to peek at communication is hard just because it's a longer chapter. But I appreciate so much. Oh my goodness, you guys joining us. It's been so much fun. And Kevin and Melissa are funny.
They are funny. Follow them online. Kev on Stage, Mrs. Kev on Stage.
Yes.
They're good, wholesome individuals. They're good, funny comedy stuff. They are Christian believers, but it's not. The comedy's not churchy stuff. I'm just so it ain't church.
Don't
stuff.
Get over there and get your face cracked.
Exactly. But it is funny stuff. But next week we'll pick up with reading. We hope you guys join us. Please share this. We appreciate the engagement. Like it if you're on YouTube so we can get the engagement up on this thing. We want to be able to share this as well and grow this opportunity for those when we start back up with our messages, which will be soon. You guys will be able to hear it and be able to touch everybody that needs to hear it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. We are here if you need us. Of course, if you want us to talk about something or want to connect with us, it's the LEES at elevatemarriages.com. And we'll just get with you next week.
Yes.
As always, we will.
It's next week, next Thursday.
8 o'clock.
We'll read again at 8 o'clock. Feel free to reach out or start thinking about what you want to hear next. What chapter? If communication is it, then we'll do communication.
Get the book if you need to. Amazon, order it. It comes quick. Remember, coupon is Elevate Marriages for a 0% discount off the price of the book, but you will get it probably the next day
if you have Prime.
If you
gotta get that Prime.
Gotta get the Prime. Until next time, do the best you can until you know better, and when you know better,
do better.
I'm James Lee.
I'm Tarsha Lee.
We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.